Hey Harmonizers, here is an update of Bunny. She is starting to get started under saddle. She is still just rounding out her 2-year-old year, so she's just coming into being a 3-year-old. And she's grown up a lot. She's looking really, really great, nice and big and solid. And we started with the long lining with her. That's Sarah doing her long lining. This is her first ever long lining session, and she was super amazing. A lot of times when you start horses long lining, they'll have some moments where they get a bit worried, or they might even try to pull forward a little bit. And she didn't have any of that. She was really, really calm the whole time, and she wiggled around a little bit trying to figure out what it is that we were asking her to do, but she stayed really, really calm. She's really been impressing me the whole time. And we actually ended up filming her long lining journey getting started as part of some long lining mini course videos that we posted in our Connection Club. So if you're not a Connection Club member, check that out at the harmonyhorsemanshipacademy.com. And we post different content, new content every month, and some more in detail instructional videos. But this is a little bit of her long lining journey. And long lining is one of my favorite things for sure for just getting horses started. And then this was fun. We were using Bunny in a little workshop we were doing for the Become the Center of Your Horse's Universe course. And we also had Secret out for that, which meant that Secret had her little baby in there with her who's grown up so much. And Bunny was a superstar. Bunny doesn't know the baby, or even, well, she was turned out with Secret before, but definitely doesn't know the baby. And the baby would sometimes wander over to Bunny, and Bunny was a superstar. Didn't, kick out at the baby or do anything, and was just very, very tolerant of that baby wandering around. But that's Secret and her little baby wandering around as part of doing our little workshop with the instructors. And you can see the little baby comes over, and Bunny's just kind of like, okay, little baby, and doesn't do anything. So I was pretty impressed with her, with how tolerant she's being, considering Bunny's still a young one herself, only 2 years old, that she was putting up with all that. So that was super awesome. And Secret and the baby are looking really, really good. Super little cute video clip of them there. But let's take a look at Bunny's long lining a bit more. So long lining, one of my favorite things to do when we're getting horses started under saddle. This is her first trotting long lining. So needless to say, I am super impressed with her, because a lot of times when horses do the first trot long lining, they will scoot forward a little bit or be a little bit worried because you're running behind them. It's like you're literally chasing them. But you can see her kind of turning a little bit. You can see her kind of with her head a little bit to the side. She's a little bit unsure of what I'm asking her to do. But all in all, very, very calm about that whole thing. Up and over the little teeter there, which she went off to the side of. And I love the long lining process because the horse learns to take direction from you behind them. When you flap the long lines at their sides to ask them to go forward, it simulates the leg as best you can, especially here because we've got the saddle on and it's through the stirrup. So it's going to kind of flap at her sides the same way that a stirrup would. So the idea is that they learn what those cues are, and most importantly, that they don't get upset or scared by those cues. This was super cute, her trying to go through the trot poles there, which is also me kind of jumping through the poles and her not getting spooked by me running up behind her and jumping over the poles. She's going to earn a cookie for doing that. Lots of cookies throughout the training. So we use a lot of positive reinforcement in our training because it really helps boost motivation. But we still use a little bit of negative reinforcement in our training because, for example, if you pull back on the reins, you want the horse to understand to stop. Like here, I accidentally dropped my rein and Bunny felt the pressure on her nose, and so she understood to stop. So we think it's important to have that understanding of some negative reinforcement and understanding a little bit of that pressure and release. But we aren't using pressure and release as the sole way to train the horse. We use a lot of positive reinforcement as well, because that keeps the horse thinking and trying, prevents you from going into some excessive like pressure situations where you're over stressing the horse. It just helps to keep everything a little bit more low key and keep the horse more thinking and relaxed and trying. So we use the combo together. It works really, really well. Definitely with Harmony Horsemanship, we're being careful not to use the idea of just add more and more and more pressure. So if the horse isn't understanding, we want to make sure we try to clarify. So here I'm going to bump her with the rope to ask her to canter, ask her to go for a little bit of canter, and then she's going to get some positive reinforcement for responding to that correctly. And then that way we can help the horse think about the cues that we're asking them to do and not getting them to be fearful of the cues or anything like that. Here's a cute little canter to the left. I'm definitely getting the sense from Bunny that she is going to be a more whoa than go type of horse. When I ask her to do those canters and things, she's a little bit of a minimalist, kind of saying like, okay, I'll canter, but how far do I need to canter for? It's actually quite nice. You know, that's a pretty cute little canter. And we're cantering at the far end of the arena, which is a little bit harder to do because sometimes the horse can be drawn to the gate and wanting to go back to the gate. So being able to canter down there is a good thing, especially with the rail for support. So here's another little look over here at going to the left, working on those little bit of circles. And she's learning all about the left rein and the right rein as we're doing this and getting used to that rope bumping at her side, making sure that she's not going to be upset for all of that. And during this video, we're going to progress all the way through watching some of these long lining highlights, but also getting to see her first rides under saddle, which are pretty exciting too. So here's a little look at that canter. You can see what I mean. She's just like, okay, I'm cantering. Look, I did 5 strides. Isn't that great? And I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. So this is Bunny's first ever ride under saddle. So this is Fenya doing the first ride for me under saddle. Fenya is a student that came up from Pennsylvania to spend a week with me and was doing a bunch of different things, including earning her Class 1 Harmony Horsemanship Instructor certification. So that was pretty exciting that she earned that and used Bunny for her groundwork for that, and then put the first couple rides on Bunny as well. So in her first ride, we had her progressing to this point here where she could ride the little figure 8 around the boxes, do a little backup. They were like, all right, that's an amazing first ride. And it was so uneventful, so awesome. And here's a little bit of her second ride, speeding it up for you so that way it's not so slow for you guys. And taking a look at her moving around. You can see I've got little Evelyn riding Dare in the background. There she's going around with Allie while Fenya's doing some work on Bunny here. And exploring different parts of the arena, steering around, and she acts like a young green horse. Like here she's kind of stopping a little bit and she's like, oh, you want me to go around this box? But overall really, really willing, not worried about Fenya being up there. All of that groundwork is really paying off in the sense of Bunny's very comfortable with her leg moving around. She's understanding the cues already for stopping and turning. So all of that really helps set the horse up that it's as less stress as possible, because learning something new can be stressful, and we want to do what we can to help that horse figure things out as easy and smoothly as possible. You can see Bunny's going, which side do I get my cookie on? So it's got to learn. And all those times that we give those cookies, they're bending side to side and getting more and more relaxation. So this is the last ride that she ended up doing with Fenya before Fenya went back to the States. So here's showing at the mounting block, getting on, and you can see as soon as she gets on, Bunny's thinking, all right, do I get a cookie, please? And for us at Harmony Horsemanship, we really like that because the horse is only thinking happy, good thoughts, and they're bending with their neck and they're chewing, and you can see how present the horse is, how relaxed she is with that whole process and not at all worried about it. And she's going to be a superstar standing at the mounting block because she understands that you only get the cookie after your rider gets on and gets their stirrups. So that helps encourage the horse to almost be searching for that mounting block of where to stand and where to go. So this is just kind of a look of getting on and doing her first little steps, moving forward, and then I'll speed up some of the footage so you can see her walking around and working on a little bit of those transitions and doing some steering, a little bit of turning, moving around in the arena. And this is all just at the walk. So because she is just 2 years old coming into her 3-year-old year, I have no desire to get her fully going walk, trot, canter. I like to let my horses really grow. I don't want to hurt their knees or their growing bodies, but there is some research to say that it's good to put some rides on the youngsters because it helps their body kind of know where they're carrying weight and can help them build some bone strength and some bone density. So I think it's good for them to do a couple short rides and to progress a little bit, but we're definitely not doing long rides or trying to get her going trots and canters. We didn't end up doing any trotting, even though I felt like she was super quiet and really, really accepting of the rider. We just felt like there wasn't a need to, so we just kept everything at the walk. We did some of these turns where we asked her to move her hips a little bit. We did some back up. We asked her to move her shoulders a little bit. And you can see there she's doing a little bit of moving her shoulders and just starting to understand those little pieces there, learning to give to that pressure a little bit and moving those little front legs. You can see she gets a nice little cross step there, and then Fenya gives a nice little release. So she's learning a bunch of different things, and most importantly, she's learning that having a rider on your back is no big deal. We can be relaxed about that. And then this will set her up nicely as she goes into her 3-year-old year and does even more riding, and probably will do some trots and some canters. But I still think it's really good in their 3-year-old year not to push them and not to do too much. Want to be really careful that we're not going to overuse those joints or their body. There's a lot of people who unintentionally harm horses because they do too much with them when they're young and they're growing. So we want to be really careful with Bunny that we're going to take it slow and easy. Just did a few rides on her at the walk, probably no more than 10 minutes. I would say somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes for her rides on her back at one time. And she was a total superstar the entire time. No bucking, no like scoots or anything, just pretty easy going about everything. This is a fun little clip at the end because my daughter's running around in the background, and you can kind of see that Bunny gets used to some of that chaos going around, doing a little bit of a turnaround there, and then gonna head up to the other end of the arena to do a dismount. But there's little Miss Evelyn running around, being noisy, doing all the things that she does, and Bunny's just kind of standing and being chill, which is, for me, a lot of what those first rides are about. Let's just hurry up and be chill, be patient, and we'll figure it out together as time goes on. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing Bunny's update progress.